Soft music rises, like whispers of wind across ancient marble stones. Tonight, we journey into the realm of myth, timeless and eternal. This is the story of Athena, goddess of wisdom, courage, and guiding light. She is not only a figure of the past, but a presence that breathes even now. Her name echoes in temples, in books, in quiet thoughts of dreamers. Athena stands as a guardian of clarity when shadows cloud the mind. She does not roar with thunder, but she speaks with reason and calm. In her gaze, the owl takes flight, a symbol of watchful wisdom. In her hands rests the olive tree, gift of peace and promise of growth. Every city that seeks justice carries her spirit within its heart. Every thinker who questions carries her fire within the soul. She is eternal, for wisdom has no age and truth has no end. As you listen, imagine walking along marble paths beneath starlit skies. The Parthenon glows, a temple not just of stone, but of living ideals. Close your eyes and let her story unfold in gentle rhythm, like woven threads. For this is not only a tale of gods, but a mirror of the human spirit. Long ago, before temples rose and cities shone, the sky trembled with hidden power. The world was filled with mystery, where gods shaped destiny and mortals whispered prayers. From the vast mind of Zeus, a spark of thought became a storm of brilliance. This storm was not of thunder, nor of lightning, but of wisdom waiting to awaken. One day, the heavens stirred, and a vision unlike any other came into being. Athena was born, not from the earth, nor from mortal womb, but from divine imagination. Her birth was a symbol, not of force, but of clarity breaking through endless night. She emerged radiant, crowned with light, carrying the calm of thought within her soul. The other gods beheld her, and in silence they recognized her eternal presence. For Athena did not come with fury, but with balance, guiding without chains or fear. She was wisdom made flesh, a guardian of reason, and a muse for human hearts. Unlike others who ruled with fire or storm, she ruled with clarity and vision. Her gaze was steady like starlight that does not burn but forever illuminates. Her first gift was not a weapon, but the strength of the mind unclouded. From that moment, mortals felt her presence whenever questions filled their souls. Whenever they stood at crossroads, unsure of which path to walk, she appeared, not as a shadow, not as a voice of command, but as a whisper of reason. Her birth was the dawn of understanding, a light guiding through the unknown. Stories spread across the earth of the goddess who could see beyond illusion. They said she carried an owl whose eyes pierced darkness with quiet certainty. They said she planted seeds of thought that bloomed into inventions and dreams. Her wisdom was not a crown to wear, but a river flowing into human lives. She became the silent architect of choices, shaping futures with gentle hands. When mortals faced storms of confusion, they called on her to steady their minds. She did not grant answers like commands, but opened doors to new visions. Her gift was not control, but clarity, allowing humans to see with truth. Thus, her birth was not only an event in heaven, but a gift to all. It was a promise that wisdom would always walk beside the world. Through her, humanity learned that strength lies not only in force, but in thought. Through her, people found the courage to solve problems without despair. Her presence was like dawn rising, chasing away night without a battle. Athena's story reminds us that beginnings are not always marked by thunder. Sometimes they arrive like quiet light, steady and everlasting in its glow. As you listen, imagine her first breath as a song woven into the sky. It was a melody that still hums in libraries, classrooms, and quiet hearts. Every thinker who asks questions carries a spark of that first moment. Every dreamer who imagines a better world walks with her unseen. Her birth is not a distant myth, but a mirror of human awakening. For each time we learn, discover, or choose peace over chaos, she is reborn. And so, the story of Athena's beginning is not just divine, but eternal. It is the moment when wisdom chose to live forever within us all. In the days when cities were young, the people searched for guardians to bless their future. Athens, a place of promise, stood at the edge of the sea and dreamed of greatness. The gods looked down, curious who would claim the heart of this rising land. Two mighty figures stepped forward, each wishing to offer a gift of power. Poseidon, lord of the seas, lifted his trident and struck the earth with pride. From the stone burst a spring of salt water, roaring and glittering in the sun. The people marveled, for the sea meant trade, ships, and journeys without end. Yet the water was harsh, and its taste bitter, reminding them of storms and peril. Then Athena came forward, calm as dawn, carrying a branch within her hand. She knelt upon the soil and pressed the branch deep into the waiting ground. From that place grew a tree, strong and rooted, its leaves shining silver in light. The olive tree, she said, would bring food, oil for lamps, and wood for peace. Its roots would nourish the land, and its branches would shade weary travelers. The people saw in her gift not only survival, but a promise of harmony. They understood that trade could be fleeting, but wisdom builds what endures. Athena's gift was quiet, yet it carried the strength of generations to come. It was not only a tree, but a symbol of peace and prosperity for all. The people chose her, naming the city Athens, a tribute to her gentle wisdom. In that moment, the goddess became the eternal protector of the sacred city. Her spirit wove into its walls, its temples, its dreams of knowledge and art. Every stone laid upon the Acropolis was blessed by her guiding presence. The olive tree stood tall as a reminder of choice, of wisdom over might. Travelers from far lands came to see the tree and honor the goddess's gift. They carried seeds across seas, planting reminders of Athena's enduring promise. The city grew, not with endless battles, but with thought, creation, and beauty. Athens became a beacon where ideas shone brighter than swords ever could. Philosophers spoke beneath her temples, and poets sang her praises at dawn. Children played in her shadow, learning that peace can be stronger than war. Her protection was not fierce wrath, but a calm hand guiding toward justice. The people of Athens trusted her voice, unseen yet always near their hearts. When storms raged, they prayed not for power, but for her clarity of vision. When disputes rose, they sought her fairness, for Athena stood for balance. The olive branch became a token carried in hand when peace was desired. It was a sign that wisdom could bridge divides where anger only burned. In every marketplace, in every school, her name was spoken with respect. Athens flourished as a city of art, philosophy, and eternal seeking of truth. And though time has passed, her choice still echoes in every act of peace. The story of the olive tree reminds us to plant, to nurture, to sustain. It reminds us that greatness is not found in conquest, but in creation. The city of Athena is more than a place. It is an idea that lives on, an idea that wisdom must guide us, just as she guided them long ago. Her tree still grows, its roots deep, its branches wide, its fruit abundant. It whispers through the ages that the truest gift is peace that endures. So whenever you see an olive branch, Remember the goddess who offered it first. Remember the moment Athens was born, not in battle, but in the gift of wisdom. For in that story lives a truth eternal, that peace is the seed of greatness. In the quiet halls of ancient time, Athena was known not only for battle or counsel, but for craft. She carried within her hands the art of weaving, a gift that bound heaven and earth together. Every thread she touched was a story, every pattern a reflection of harmony and balance. To weave, she believed, was not simply to create cloth, but to shape the rhythm of destiny. Mortals looked to her as patron of artisans, guiding their hands with patience and precision. When the loom stood tall, its wooden frame ready, they whispered her name with reverence. They felt her presence in the gentle pull of thread, in the order rising from chaos. The goddess taught that weaving was more than labor. It was a meditation on life itself. Each line crossing another became a symbol of choice, fate, and human connection. A tapestry was not mere fabric, but a story alive with the breath of wisdom. Legends tell that Athena's loom sang softly, like wind passing through silver leaves. The sound carried peace, inspiring artisans to see beauty in even the smallest details. She wove patterns of stars, rivers, and olive branches, blending nature into sacred art. Through her, mortals learned that creation is sacred, for it mirrors the work of gods. Weaving became a prayer, each thread a vow to bring order where there was none. Mothers taught daughters, fathers taught sons, and every home echoed with her gift. Cloth carried not only warmth, but memories, dreams, and blessings of the goddess. Athena's gift turned ordinary lives into artists of meaning and preservation. Even disputes could be softened when her woven works were brought as tokens of peace. To wear a cloth blessed by her spirit was to carry wisdom upon the skin. The loom became a symbol, reminding all that patience weaves strength unseen. The goddess showed that creation is not about haste, but about steady hands and heart. Every mistake could be undone, every knot retied, if one returned with calm mind. Her teachings reminded mortals that life too could be rewoven when broken. Just as threads can be realigned, so can choices and futures find new design. Stories of Athena's weaving spread across temples and into distant lands. They told of a goddess who showed mortals that art is as noble as courage. Where some gods demanded power, Athena gave skill, a gift to last forever. She proved that wisdom is not only found in words, but in hands that create. Even kings treasured cloths woven under her blessing, richer than gold or jewels. Not because of wealth, but because they held the quiet strength of her presence. Her weavings were said to glow in moonlight, carrying patterns of divine order. They inspired poets, philosophers, and dreamers to see the world as a living tapestry. Every river, every star, every olive branch was a thread woven by the goddess. In this way, she reminded mortals that nothing stands alone. All is connected. To pull one thread is to move the whole, and thus wisdom must guide every hand. Athena's loom became eternal, not bound to temples, but to every act of creation. Whenever a painter lifts a brush, or a thinker joins ideas, her spirit is near. She whispers to artisans and dreamers, "Create not for glory, but for harmony." For in weaving, whether of cloth, of thought, or of life, lies the soul of wisdom. Thus her gift is not forgotten, but lives in every pattern that shapes our world. The threads she gave us are still in our hands, waiting to be woven anew. Heroes are often remembered for strength, but behind their triumphs stands the wisdom of Athena. She was the counselor, the unseen hand, the quiet guide in the storms of destiny. When mortals faced impossible trials, her presence arrived like a calm breath of clarity. She did not fight their battles, but she gave them the vision to find a way through. Among the heroes she guided was Odysseus, the wanderer of endless seas and trials. His journey was long, filled with traps of desire, fear, and cunning enemies unseen. Athena walked beside him, sometimes in disguise, sometimes in whispers only he heard. She taught him that cleverness could outshine force, and patience could outlast fury. When he doubted his path, her voice reminded him of his strength of mind. Her counsel was like a lighthouse, steady in the chaos of storm and wave. It was not her power that saved him, but the wisdom she helped him discover within. Through her, Odysseus learned that the sharpest blade is the clarity of thought. So too did Perseus feel her presence when he sought the dreaded gaze of Medusa. She offered not a weapon of destruction, but a shield polished to perfect reflection. With it, Perseus could face danger without ever looking directly at death. Her gift was insight, to use the mind as protection, not the hand as destroyer. In this way, Athena gave heroes the tools of thought, not merely the tools of war. Every trial became a lesson, every challenge a test of patience and clarity. She showed that courage is not the absence of fear, but the wisdom to move through it. Her guidance shaped men and women who became legends not by power, but by choice. Heroes carried her spirit, knowing victory born of wisdom lasts longer than force. In quiet moments, they prayed not for weapons, but for her voice to guide their steps. Her presence was subtle, like a star hidden at dawn, yet always shining. Sometimes she appeared as a friend, a stranger, or a bird flying overhead. Yet always her gift was the same, a path of balance, a vision of truth. Athena never demanded glory, for her triumphs lived in the deeds of others. She found honor not in being seen, but in the quiet shaping of destiny. Even today, her counsel lingers in the stories told across fires and pages. When we admire heroes, we also honor the wisdom that guided their steps. Athena reminds us that no one walks alone, that guidance is always near. Sometimes it comes as a teacher, a friend, or a voice inside our hearts. Her story tells us that we too are heroes, if we choose thought before haste. For the goddess who counseled kings also speaks to the smallest dreamers. The thread that runs through every tale is her gentle hand of direction. She did not need to lift a sword to shape the fate of empires. Instead, she lifted the spirits of mortals, showing them their hidden strength. Odysseus found home, Perseus found victory, but both found wisdom through her. And every soul who listens finds the same gift, quiet yet everlasting. Her legacy is not the clash of arms, but the triumph of wisdom's light. Heroes fade into memory, but her counsel remains, guiding us even now. Athena's gift was never for one age, but for all who face their trials. It whispers that in every challenge, the greatest power is the mind awake. So when you feel lost, remember the goddess who counseled the heroes of old. She walks beside you still, offering wisdom, courage, and the path to victory within. Athena was never a goddess of extremes, but a guardian of balance and harmony. Her power did not rise from fury or blind passion, but from clarity held steady. She taught mortals that life is a scale, weighed between justice and compassion. To choose one without the other was to stumble, but to hold both was wisdom. When people quarreled, they sought her presence, knowing she stood above anger. She was not swayed by wealth, nor silenced by power, for fairness was her law. In her temples, Judges and leaders prayed for calm minds before making decisions. They believed her spirit whispered balance, guiding their hearts toward truth. Athena's wisdom was a reminder that strength must be tempered by gentleness. She did not praise reckless courage, but the steady courage to act with justice. Mortals learned that victory without fairness was only an illusion of triumph. A ruler guided by her spirit chose peace when war tempted, kindness when pride called. Her olive branch was more than a tree. It was a scale of choices laid bare. Every leaf spoke of patience, every root of the strength to endure with dignity. The goddess herself walked between two worlds, divine and mortal, reason and heart. She showed that no path is ever only light or only shadow, but a mixture of both. Balance was not perfection, but the art of adjusting with each step forward. When storms raged, she counseled calm. When silence lingered, she stirred courage. In this way, Athena became more than a protector. She became a guide for harmony. Her followers learned that wisdom is not found in choosing sides, but in uniting them. The owl, her companion, symbolized this balance. Stillness with sharp vision combined. It taught mortals to watch quietly, then act with purpose when the moment was right. Athena's lesson stretched far beyond courts or councils, into homes and hearts. Parents invoked her when teaching fairness between children, when love required balance. Artists remembered her when shaping beauty with discipline, not chaos alone. Philosophers honored her when blending logic with kindness, reason with empathy. She became a reminder that wisdom is not cold, nor is compassion naive. True wisdom, she taught, is the ability to hold both without letting one destroy the other. Her presence in Athens was not only in temples, but in every act of fair judgment. Every agreement signed beneath her name carried the weight of her guidance. Even enemies laid down arms in her honor, placing olive branches at her altar. For they knew that to ignore her law of balance was to invite ruin upon themselves. Her harmony did not deny conflict, but sought to transform it into understanding. Her strength did not deny anger, but taught how to channel it toward justice. This is why she was called not just a goddess of war, nor of peace, but of balance. She stood at the threshold where opposites met and wove them into unity. Her wisdom was not an end, but a bridge, carrying mortals across chaos to order. Through her, people learned that fairness is the seed from which peace will grow. And justice without compassion, she warned, is as hollow as compassion without truth. The balance she offered was not a rule written in stone, but a living choice. Each day mortals were asked to weigh their actions, their words, their hearts. And in this weighing, they felt her presence, reminding them of harmony eternal. Thus Athena's gift was not only counsel, nor only protection, but the way of balance. She became the eternal voice that whispers, "Walk steady, walk fair, walk true." And so, her story endures as a guide, showing us how to live between the extremes. Athena's presence was felt most deeply in the city that bore her name, Athens. It was not just a city of stone and streets, but a living symbol of her wisdom. Here, temples rose in her honor, but more important were the minds she inspired. Philosophers walked the agora, debating truth and justice under her silent gaze. Artists carved marble not only into beauty, but into visions of harmony and balance. Poets recited verses that wove her spirit into the fabric of daily life. Athens became a city where wisdom guided action, not only power or pride. Her influence was not distant, but alive in the choices of its people. They saw her in the olive trees, whose fruit fed both body and spirit. They felt her in the sea winds, reminding them of trade, travel, and connection. Every corner of the city carried her presence, like a guardian woven into stone. Children learned her name before they knew the names of rulers or kings. For she was not only divine, but a mother of wisdom to every generation. The Parthenon stood as a crown, a temple shimmering in sunlit marble. It was more than a structure. It was a beacon of reason and devotion combined. Within its walls, offerings were placed not only for blessings, but for guidance. The city knew that to follow Athena was to follow a path of balance. She was honored not with fear, but with gratitude for her endless counsel. Unlike gods who demanded sacrifice, she offered strength through clarity of thought. Her name was whispered in councils when choices shaped the fate of Athens. Her wisdom turned debates into agreements and conflicts into lessons. Athens thrived not only because of walls or ships, but because of her spirit. For a city guided by wisdom cannot easily fall into ruin or despair. She watched over warriors, but reminded them that true victory is peace preserved. She guided rulers, but taught them that justice outweighs pride and vanity. In her city, law was not only order, but fairness grounded in compassion. This was her greatest gift to Athens, the weaving of wisdom into its heart. Athena's presence inspired not only great men, but also women, artisans, and children. For in her eyes, every life held value, every voice carried meaning. Her temple steps welcomed all, from scholars to farmers, each seeking her light. The city became her canvas, painted with the strokes of reason and justice. She was not a distant queen, but a presence living in the rhythm of Athens. Festivals in her honor filled the streets with music, dance, and offerings of thanks. Yet beneath the joy was always a deeper respect for her wisdom eternal. The people knew she was more than a patron. She was their guiding star. Athens flourished because it carried not only her name, but her spirit. And as the city grew in fame, her legend grew with it, carried across the seas. Travelers spoke of Athens not only for wealth or power, but for its wisdom. This was Athena's true legacy, a city that reflected her eternal balance. Even today, the ruins of her temple stand as a silent song of her presence. Columns weathered by time still speak of a goddess who shaped an age. The stones tell of a city guided by thought, courage, and fairness combined. Athens may fade in power, but its spirit remains bound forever to her name. Athena, eternal goddess, lives on in the wisdom that once built her city. She whispers still through marble, olive leaves, and the stories of her people. Her gift was never just for Athens, but for all who seek a city of the mind. And in every place where wisdom thrives, her presence can still be felt today. Athena's wisdom was not bound only to temples or kings, but to the spirit of invention. She was the goddess who guided human hands to craft, build, and imagine anew. From her came the spark that turned raw stone into tools and clay into vessels. She taught mortals to weave, to shape, and to create not only for survival, but for beauty. The loom became one of her gifts, its thread symbolizing the weaving of life itself. Each strand told a story, each pattern reflected balance, patience, and harmony. Women who worked the loom whispered prayers to her, asking for steady hands. They knew weaving was more than cloth. It was art, memory, and legacy combined. Athena's touch also blessed the forge, where fire shaped bronze into lasting forms. Blacksmiths honored her before striking iron, believing her spirit guided the hammer. She reminded them that every tool could build, heal, or protect, not only destroy. Her wisdom taught that creation carries responsibility, just as power must serve good. Sailors honored her for the building of ships, for she gave mortals knowledge of design. The curved hull, the sail, the oar, all carried her unseen guidance in their making. Through her, humans learned not only to travel seas, but to dream beyond horizons. Each creation was a gift, not simply of skill, but of vision tied to purpose. Athena showed that invention is not pride, but service to community and future. The olive tree itself became her most famous gift, offered to Athens as a blessing. It was not merely a tree, but a source of food, oil, wood, and endless renewal. This gift proved her wisdom, for it nourished people long. After battles had ended, mortals saw in the olive tree a symbol of her foresight and enduring care. Athena's spirit whispered that true wealth is not gold, but what sustains life. Her influence inspired architects to build not only walls, but structures of harmony. The balance of columns, the rhythm of design, all reflected her vision of order. Every arch and temple stood as a prayer in stone, shaped by her wisdom. Artists, too, felt her presence in their hands, shaping marble into gods and heroes. They believed their chisels moved with her guidance, uncovering truth in stone. For Athena taught that art is not illusion, but a mirror of the eternal spirit. In every act of creation, mortals echoed her timeless gift of imagination. Athena's name became tied to innovation, to discovery, to the courage of new ideas. Her wisdom carried humanity forward, showing that the mind could build futures. She did not give answers, but inspired questions, leading mortals to explore the unknown. Her gifts were quiet, yet they reshaped the world more deeply than thunder or fire. The loom, the forge, the olive tree, each spoke of her guidance across ages. She proved that divinity is not only in power, but in the grace of invention. Through her, humans learned that to create is to honor the gift of wisdom itself. Every invention became a bridge between necessity and vision, survival and hope. Athena's presence in craft was not command, but inspiration, urging mortals to grow. She whispered to them, "Shape with care, build with purpose, weave with truth." Her gifts were not fleeting, but eternal, carried forward by every hand that creates. And so, Athena's legacy lives not only in temples, but in every crafted thing, in every woven cloth, every forged blade, every olive tree planted in soil. The goddess of wisdom is remembered whenever invention serves life with balance. Her spirit lingers in every act of making, where thought and hand become one. She remains the eternal muse of creation, guiding humanity to shape a wiser world. Athena's wisdom did not remain locked in temples or myths. It spread through the voice of philosophers. In Athens, the agora became her open-air classroom, where minds gathered to seek truth. Socrates walked among the people, asking questions that cut deeper than any sword. He believed wisdom began not with answers, but with the courage to admit ignorance. This search for truth carried the spirit of Athena, who taught clarity over pride. Plato, his student, envisioned worlds of perfect forms, guided by reason and balance. In every dialogue, Athena's voice echoed, reminding him to seek harmony in thought. Aristotle followed, studying nature, logic, and the essence of human purpose. His pursuit of knowledge was a tribute to the goddess who loved inquiry. These thinkers shaped not only Athens, but the entire course of human thought. Each idea planted in the agora was like an olive seed, destined to grow. Athena's spirit was present in every debate, in every search for higher meaning. She was not only a goddess of warriors, but a goddess of minds, unafraid to question. Through philosophy, She gave mortals the greatest weapon, the ability to think. Athens became a cradle of reason, where her influence shaped schools and academies. Students gathered under shaded columns, eager to hear the wisdom of their teachers. They saw learning not as memorizing, but as a dialogue between mind and spirit. Athena's presence turned education into a sacred act, a path toward clarity. Knowledge became her temple, built not of marble, but of questions and answers. Each philosopher carried her torch, passing it to the next with reverence. This fire of thought traveled across time, reaching lands far from Athens. Her wisdom was not confined by borders, but became a gift for all humanity. Rhetoricians invoked her when shaping words that could inspire justice or peace. Historians honored her by preserving memory, weaving truth into the fabric of time. Scientists sought her in the stars, in the earth, in the hidden laws of life. Every pursuit of knowledge carried the echo of her eternal guidance. She reminded mortals that wisdom is not possession, but a lifelong journey. Her spirit whispered to thinkers, question boldly, but seek truth with humility. Philosophy itself became her gift, the endless search for meaning and balance. Athena's city glowed not with gold, but with the brilliance of enlightened minds. Every scholar knew that in learning, they honored the goddess of clarity. She was the unseen teacher, the muse who shaped thought across generations. Her influence stretched far beyond Athens, into Rome, into Europe, into the world. Each age rediscovered her voice, guiding thinkers through chaos toward reason. When ideas clashed, her balance reminded mortals to weigh truth with fairness. When pride tempted, her clarity reminded them to remain humble seekers. The legacy of philosophy stands as one of her greatest temples on earth. It does not crumble with time, for it is built of ideas, not stone. Athena's gift to humanity was not only wisdom, but the courage to pursue it. Her spirit still breathes in classrooms, in libraries, in every question asked. Every time a mind wonders, every time a voice seeks truth, she is near. Philosophy remains her eternal song, carried across centuries, alive in thought. And so, Athena lives not only in marble statues, but in the dialogue of minds. Her greatest temple is the endless search for truth, lit by her wisdom eternal. The legacy of Athena did not fade with the passing of Athens. It found new life in art and craft. Artists lifted their chisels and brushes as if guided by her hand, shaping beauty with purpose. Sculptors carved her image in marble, tall and serene, her gaze filled with quiet strength. Every fold of her robe spoke of discipline, every line of her face of wisdom. Painters captured her with golden light, an eternal muse for canvas and color. She was both distant and near, divine yet present in every stroke of creativity. Athena taught that art was not mere decoration, but a mirror of human spirit. The Parthenon rose as her masterpiece, a temple of stone and harmony. Its columns reached to the sky, each line balanced with precision and grace. Inside, her statue gleamed in ivory and gold, a vision of majesty and calm. It was more than a monument. It was a dialogue between mortals and the divine. Craftsmen honored her in humble works as well, weaving stories into fabric and clay. Potters etched scenes of myth on vessels, carrying her presence into daily life. Weavers spun cloth with symbols of wisdom, offering their devotion in every thread. Her gift of the olive tree was painted on walls, carved on coins, woven into crowns. It reminded all that her blessings reached beyond temples, into fields and homes. The olive branch became a sign of peace, her quiet promise of renewal. Every harvest was a prayer to the goddess who gave fruit to the earth. In art, Athena was both protector and teacher, inspiring skill in all hands. She whispered to craftsmen, "Seek not perfection, but harmony in every creation." Her spirit shaped not only great monuments, but the smallest tools and ornaments. Even simple objects carried her blessing when made with care and clarity. Athena was the goddess of craft, reminding mortals that beauty is born of purpose. Her influence stretched into theater, where poets wove her wisdom into stories. Tragedies and comedies alike carried echoes of her balance and fairness. She was there when words danced on stage, guiding actors to reveal truth. The audience learned not just to watch, but to reflect on life itself. In every chorus, her presence lingered, a reminder of her love for knowledge. Art became a form of worship, each creation a prayer in stone, paint, or word. Athena's legacy grew with each artist who dared to shape the invisible into form. Her name was invoked not with fear, but with gratitude for inspiration. For she did not demand blood or conquest, but the honest work of mortal hands. Her gifts were steady, enduring, woven into the heart of culture itself. Every new style, every innovation, carried traces of her eternal guidance. Athena's city thrived not on war, but on beauty that uplifted the spirit. Her temples and statues became symbols of identity, pride, and unity. Travelers came from distant lands to stand before her works in awe. They returned home with stories, carrying her influence beyond the Aegean. Thus, her spirit moved across seas, shaping the art of distant peoples. She became a universal muse, her wisdom not bound to one nation. Every culture that valued craft felt her presence, subtle yet strong. In time, her image shifted, but her essence remained unchanged. Artists of every age rediscovered her, finding inspiration in her calm. Athena's legacy in art proved that beauty is as eternal as wisdom. And through every sculpture, every painting, every crafted work, she still speaks. She tells mortals, "Create with purpose, and your work shall outlast the ages." Her temple is not only in Athens, but in every hand that dares to create. Athena's wisdom did not remain in temples or art alone. It found a voice in law and justice. In Athens, her spirit guided the birth of democracy, a daring experiment in human freedom. The people gathered in the assembly, each voice carrying weight, each opinion valued. Athena reminded them that true strength lies not in domination, but in fairness. Her influence was clear in the Areopagus, the council that judged with solemn care. Here, law was not vengeance, but a pursuit of balance and clarity. When disputes arose, citizens sought justice not by blood, but by reasoned words. Athena's wisdom whispered through each trial, urging truth above anger. Legends tell of her role in the trial of Orestes, a moment of great meaning. The jury was divided, torn between justice for the slain and mercy for the accused. Athena cast her vote for mercy, declaring that compassion is the higher wisdom. This act became a symbol, showing that law is not rigid, but guided by fairness. Her decision transformed justice into a living principle, balancing duty with humanity. Athena taught mortals that justice must protect both the victim and the accused. She reminded them that law without mercy becomes cruelty, and mercy without law chaos. In her city, courts became temples of reason, where words replaced weapons. Athenians learned that justice was not about victory, but about truth. Every trial became a dialogue, echoing her eternal pursuit of clarity. Through this, society grew stronger, bound not by fear, but by trust. Athena's presence was felt in every decree, every oath sworn beneath her gaze. Her olive branch became a symbol not only of peace, but of lawful harmony. Leaders invoked her when shaping policies, knowing her spirit watched closely. Citizens prayed to her for fairness, seeking her guidance in disputes. In every decision, Athena reminded them that power must serve justice, not greed. Her legacy shaped the very idea of democracy, the belief in shared governance. She was not the goddess of rulers, but of people united in fairness. Athena's wisdom flowed beyond Athens, inspiring later nations to seek justice. The concept of law as balance, not domination, carried her eternal imprint. Even today, echoes of her wisdom live in the scales of justice, held by blindfolded hands. She whispers still in courtrooms, reminding judges to listen with patience and fairness. Her story teaches that justice is never simple, but must seek harmony. Athena's legacy in law is not about punishment, but about restoring order. Her guidance shows that justice must look forward, healing wounds with fairness. The trial of Orestes became a myth, but its meaning became eternal truth. Mercy and reason can stand together, guided by wisdom's steady hand. Athena's lesson is that every judgment shapes the soul of society. When law is fair, society thrives, but when it falters, chaos reigns. Her spirit protects the balance, urging mortals to honor truth above pride. Athena is remembered not only as a warrior, but as a guardian of justice. Her temple stands in every fair law, in every wise decision of leaders. The olive branch in her hand is both peace and the promise of fairness. She continues to guide humanity, whispering that true justice serves all. And so, her eternal wisdom remains alive, shaping every honest judgment. Her voice still calls, seek justice with clarity and mercy with courage. Athena's gift to humanity is the law that serves not kings, but truth. And through that gift, her presence endures in every fair court and every just word. As the tale of Athena reaches its close, her light remains, steady as the eternal stars above. She is more than myth, more than marble, more than words etched on forgotten scrolls. Athena is a presence that lingers, guiding minds and hearts across every passing age. She reminds us that wisdom is not distant, but woven into every choice we make. Her story tells us that clarity shines brightest when the world is clouded in doubt. She whispers that courage is not only strength in battle, but calm in the storm. Her olive branch still stretches outward, offering peace where conflict threatens to rise. Her owl still takes flight, a symbol of insight and the courage to see what others miss. Every thinker, every dreamer, every seeker of truth carries a spark of her spirit. She calls us to question boldly, to listen deeply, to balance justice with compassion. In her reflection, we see ourselves, striving to create, to learn, to choose with care. Athena's eternal gift is not power, but the guidance to use power wisely. She shows us that peace is as sacred as strength, and truth as vital as breath. Her legacy is not locked in temples, but alive in every mind that seeks meaning. When we look to the stars, she is there, reminding us of the vastness of knowledge. When we plant seeds, she is there, showing us that growth begins with care. When we speak words of fairness, she is there, shaping justice through our voices. Her story is the story of humanity itself, a journey from shadow to light. She does not demand worship, but invites understanding and thoughtful action. Her temples of stone may weather, but her temple of wisdom is eternal. Athena teaches that every question is a step, every answer a doorway to more. She urges us never to fear learning, for knowledge is the truest form of courage. In her presence, the world is not chaos, but a balance waiting to be shaped. She guides not only leaders, but all who strive to live with clarity and kindness. Her light shines in classrooms, in courts, in quiet moments of reflection. She is with the artist shaping beauty, the student turning a page, the thinker in silence. Athena endures not as a distant goddess, but as a companion in the human journey. Her eternal lesson is this: wisdom is alive, and it belongs to all. So long as questions are asked, she walks among us, calm and eternal. So long as truth is sought, her spirit whispers through the voices of the brave. Athena's tale does not end, for wisdom itself has no end, no final page. It continues with us, with every choice, with every dream of a better world. She stands at the crossroad of time, guiding with a gaze steady and kind. Her presence assures us that clarity is possible, even in the darkest hour. Athena is not gone. She is eternal, breathing still in the soul of humanity. And as the night sky glows, her wisdom remains, like stars that never fade. She is Athena, Goddess Eternal, guardian of reason, muse of peace, and light unbroken. Her story is ours. Her journey is shared. Her wisdom is forever alive.